Hello, this is OT Khaled. So today I'm going to be speaking about a deck that I've been interested in. So normally, unironically enough, outside Memento, I'm normally a control deck player. I've played Vanquish Soul, Regenesis, Pumpkin, and yeah, I've always like control decks. They're really technical, and I really love it because you have to like play correct a lot of the time and like control the game. Like it's quite different from Memento, but like I like both playstyles. But this is a deck that really caught my eye. So I've done a lot of combos with this deck and like a lot of practice for the past probably like a month or so. And like I'm really happy with the results. So I just wanted to show it off. So I just wanted to show you guys like this is just a 2-card combo within the deck. Just remember this is a control deck. So of course it's not going to be able to end on like an 11 interruption board like Memento or an 8 interruption board. Well, 8 interruptions board more doable, but like it's not going to be able to end on like absolutely everything. But the interrupts are way higher impact. Okay, I'll go through one of the combos now. So activate Pumpkin. This is going to be Set and Call of the Haunted, and then it discards a. And then on resolution it discards a card. So it just doesn't discard for cost. And then then call the haunted target pumpkin effect. Summon Shang-Chi from deck. This card says when it ignition effect, send a zombie monster from hand or deck to grave. Remember this one says hand or deck. This one Gozuki in hand, only it just says from deck. This comes up. So Shang-Chi effect sends here Eldritch, and now you're going to what you can do is normal summon Gozuki, and then Gozuki effect, ignition effect, to send Army of the Haunted. It's now a really cool play that you're allowed to do here because of Gozuki interaction is you're able to link these two off, and you're able to make a vampire sucker, and then what you can do is use Army of the Haunted, Reborn. So this interaction with Gozuki Shang-Chi, it would come up if we had a zombie in our hand, but I'm going to do it without that. So what you do here is use Vampire to draw one because you've summoned a monster from grave. Now what you're able to do is make a Pumpkin Eggsy effect search. This basically gets you to any other pumpkin cards in your deck. This card searches any spell in my deck. I'm just doing it because this card has a secondary effect which says if this card is special summoned, target an attack position monster your opponent controls. That monster can't attack, use its effects, or be used as material outside of a ritual, because that requires tributing. This is broken because we're going to be able to reset this Call of the Haunted right here. So now what we do is Eldritch effect, and we sack this. Now we reborn the Eldritch, and now what we're going to be able to do is make the Eldritch Mad Golden Lord. Use these two to make Flying Mary. Effect of this to reborn from grave or summon this from extra deck. Now we get to use Flying Mary to reborn the Eldritch, and we also get to a Verudrus. And now a cool play that we're able to do as well is use this to detach the Army of the Haunted, and then we get to bounce this Flying Mary back to our hand, which goes back to our extra deck, triggering the army to reset the Call of the Haunted that we set. And then we're able to slap Undying Legion. So basically what this board has done is that in a 2-card combo I've ended on a 5 interruption board, a suck, a Verudrus negate, a second Omni negate, plus a Call of the Haunted. This is a replacement effect where, for example, you activate Branded Fusion, and then I activate this card. It changes your effect to either toss a coin. If it hits tails, I have to banish one monster I control. If it hits heads, I have to banish one monster I control. If it hits tails, you have to banish all monsters you control. but it will always change your branded fusion to either banish one of mine or banish all of yours. But the whole point is that it beats your power card and then also has the advantage of 50% of the time just being I win the duel. And then even if it backfires, it doesn't really matter because, for example, if you really cared about the Vortex of Time not like fizzling in a bad way, you can call the Haunted, reborn Shang-Chi, and then if you hit heads, it banishes the Shang-Chi, and then the Shang-Chi banishes another zombie from grave and reborns itself. So technically, you don't lose out on the value. But just saying, this card, if it ever resolves for tails, you just win the duel. But if it resolves for heads, 90% of the time, you'll still win the duel. But point is that this deck plays 18 hand traps, you draw quite a lot with cards like Vampire Sucker, and there's also an engine way to draw. And yeah, you establish a lot of advantage. And I really find this deck cool, because this deck's biggest problem is just Bell. Outside that, Priya, Fua, not really much for a problem. Not just that, this deck doesn't really play bricks like that. It has a lot of one card combos, 15, and you play 18 hand traps. So there's only two undesirable draws, which is Call the Haunted and Mammoth, and that's it. So just to explain to you what the Call the Haunted reborn. So let's say you use this to attach one of their cards from their grave or attack position monster. That's what this card does. Then what you can do is Call the Haunted, reborn Pumpkin, and then Pumpkin can summon one of two cards. Either Snakehair, which is the crown that I described earlier, and then this card which says, if this card is special summon and I control Call the Haunted or a zombie monster, except itself, then I can target card my opponent controls, or just target card on the field actually, and just destroy it. And if I use this for an XE summon for a zombie XE monster, which you have in your X deck, it gains 1000 attack, so it helps you like push the game and stuff, and it helps you boost your monsters to get enough attack. But the whole point is, in this end board, you've ended on a Suck, plus an Omni Negate, plus either a crown and a crown or a pop, plus another Omni Negate, plus the other 3 cards in your hand and the card that you drew. And this isn't even like the optimal line. This is just the 2-card combo inside your deck. And this is like in 90% of the 2-card combos inside your deck. You're always able to like loop into all of this. So now I'll show you guys a different combo where this is basically with peak perform. This is basically like what you want to basically do inside the deck. So when you open like these two, I'm just going to utilize some cool synergy between zombie cards that came out and which I thought to be really cool. So you use Call the Haunted, and this is like a big reason as to why I'm playing Morna. So you Pumpkin summon Shang-Chi, and then you're going to go Shang-Chi effect, you're going to go Shang-Chi effect to send Eldritch, and now you're going to normal summon Gozuki, Gozuki effect to send Army. But then here's the really cool aspect of this, is that, so because this card is a zombie, what I can do is link these both off, then use Gozuki to banish the Shang-Chi, and then summon the Morna from my hand. So a lot of people question this play, but then just let me cook. So now you go Shang-Chi, banish the Gozuki, and then you reborn the Shang-Chi, because when it's banished, it banishes another zombie to summon itself. So basically, you've technically like extended past what you were supposed to. So now, what you do is summon the Pumpkin. And now the Pumpkin effect, it gets you the same thing it gets you before. You go Snakehair, or if you want to be conservative, you just search Vortex of Time. But it's important to do like Snakehair, like if you're getting like food and stuff. But that's for another video. Anyway, so now in this game state, now you have a way to stop like whatever. But to be fair, you're going to be like playing into it in about 2 seconds. So now you're going to be reborning Army, and now you're going to be using Eldritch the Golden Lord. Now you sack that card. Now you summon this. Just to let you know, it doesn't have to be Mourner. If this was a brick like Mammoth or like another pumpkin, another snake hair, you could summon it and then you can actually end on a Lars as well, which means you can end on triple Omni Negate. But this scenario, like I'm just showing you, this is more the control aspect of when you just open like a Mourner, Bell, Ash, all of this is the exact same because all three of them are zombies. Not just that, when you're going second, just to let you know, if you Ash, Bell, or Mourner someone, when you normal summon Gozeki and they pop it, you can banish the Ash, Bell, Mourner from the graveyard and then extend from hand using another zombie, because Gozeki says banish any zombie from grave and summon a zombie from hand, and that counts for Mourner, Bell, Ash. So that's like the broken synergy that I found with this deck. So now we have these two cards. So now what we're going to be able to do. Oh wait, when I reborn arm, I don't think I drew actually. Oh, okay, it's a fill. What's it called? Yeah, so link these two off, and then summon this, reset the Call the Haunted, and then discard summons from extra deck this, and now we go this into Eldritch, and now here's the cool aspect of this deck, and this is the big reason why I like this deck so much. It's because the recursion is so silly. Because you just go this effect, detach, bounce this back to your hand, and now look, you're just back in the same game state you were in last time. But now, because remember, like this was only Mourner plus 2 other cards, I'm technically still supposed to have another 2 cards in my hand. So I'm not going to draw them just because we'll leave it to the imagination. But the point is that like you have another draw next turn, you still should have another 2 additional cards in your hand. So in the scenario, like, and technically I would have summoned this instead, and I would have been able to end on a Lars. A cool aspect is I'm going to be able to draw next turn as well. So I have Mourner, Ash, Imperm, even though I wouldn't be able to set this or anything. The whole point is I'm still ending on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 interrupts. That's how many cards they have in their hand. So you have to actually be able to like beat over the pumpkin. I'm going to be summoning Mammoth. Not just that. If you send this card to the graveyard, this card doesn't leave the field, which means Army is going to be able to resummon itself next turn. You also have Eldritch as follow up. So after you reborn the army next turn, you can also Eldritch sack the Call of the Haunted, add back summon, then use the pumpkin that I have as follow up to reset the Call of the Haunted, use it, and then if it gets popped in any way, link off army, reset it again. There's an infinite amount of ways. And then the last thing I just want to go into, I'll be making a video of what I think the deck should look like. But I just want to show like a really cool aspect of this deck that a lot of people haven't really considered yet. So I'm going to show it in the most like simplest way that I could think of. So in the scenario where you don't open Gozeki, the reason why Ash, Bell, Mourner are so broken is because you're allowed to do something like this. So in the scenario where you're afraid of your opponent belling your Call of the Haunted, a very, very valid theory by the way, what you do to counteract this is this exact play. You normal summon the Mourner. This is when you don't have Gozeki, because obviously if you have Gozeki you don't need to do this. You can normal summon Gozeki, send Eldritch, and then activate Call of the Haunted. But in this scenario, what you do is you activate Call of the Haunted. Your opponent will bell you. But now, the activation requirement for Vortex of Time and Mourner has been fulfilled. So let's say your opponent wants to hold Fua for Pumpkin. What you can do is do this exact thing, because when Pumpkin summons from deck, right, but it's only on summon. So what they'll do is they'll wait for you to Call the Haunted, summon Pumpkin, and then summon Pumpkin summon from deck. But but then at that point you can Vortex of Time and negate Fua, by the way. You can negate Fua, Phimina, whatever they try to activate, doesn't matter. You can always negate it. But then the whole point is that if you activate this here, if they bell this, you're cooked. Like, especially like in a game state where you don't have Gozuki, Mezuki, Foolish Burial, Prosperity, none of these cards as extenders. But then this is the reason why this deck does low-key work, because you're able to normal summon a zombie and then just go Vortex of Time on the bell, even if the coin toss flips in the opposing way. So in this scenario it hits tails, even if your opponent doesn't have any monsters, it still resolves that way. So they just banish nothing. If they have something, they would have banished it. If not, I don't have to lose out on anything. I get to summon my pumpkin. I get to resolve my combo, and then right at the end of it, I get to just go pumpkin XZ, bounces back to my hand. Not just that, you have to realize that that's how you also beat cards like how you beat MST, Fawn the Virtuous. When you have cards like Pumpkin plus Snakehair, Pumpkin plus anything, where you're more often not able to do, like for example, Gozuki and Pumpkin can also do it. Like, you just set up so you have Vortex of Time, and then when your opponent activates the Fawn the Virtuous or MST, you just chain Vortex of Time, and then it will stop that, so it will stop their effect, so the pumpkin is definitely going to connect on the field. But the even better effect is if it randomly hits tails, like it just did now, imagine what would happen to their field. I've had people that have had like Kusanagi plus Murakumo, and a Futsu Engrave. Vortex of Time, the Futsu Engrave, tails banish all of their monsters. Or one guy had Quem, Cartesia, Ecclesia, Granganol, and all of that got banished. And Vortex of Time, the Albaz effect. The whole point is Vortex of Time just breaks the whole game open, and every time it ever resolves tails, and then anytime it resolves heads, it's just normal. Because even if you have to banish this, you don't really care too much. As long as like you get to resolve your combo. And yeah, so this is like the extra deck. I'm able to, if you open Gozuki plus Pumpkin and a 6, then you can also go for the Lars line. If you opened, also in this deck, you are able, this is a huge merit that I should have explained earlier, I think. You are actually able to send Ash Blossom, Bell, or Morna, and sometimes both of them, and then add them back to your hand through M7 and Goblin and the Goblin XZ, because you can send Ash Blossom and then send Mezuki, and then reborn the Mezuki, reborn the Ash Blossom, and then bounce it back to your hand with the Goblin XZ. Another cool line is when you Ash their Fua in the 1-card Pumpkin line, you can Shang-Chi send the Mezuki, banish Reborn, and then just bounce back the Ash Blossom and bounce back the Call of the Haunted, and you don't have to go through Army that way, which means you can add back the Ash, end on Vortex of Time, Call of the Haunted plus Undying Legion, which is really broken in my opinion. And in terms of control decks, it's just really nice, and the Mulcharmies lines are crazy. It's like I'd rather like play this and not die to Fua than play Yummy and just die to Fua every time. But yeah, so I'll be trying to make a couple more videos about this. I'll make a deck profile and I'll try to show like a bit more intricate combos, because I feel like this deck's really cool, has a lot of potential. Some people have referenced this deck similar to like Apophis, where Apophis didn't really get support. But what I say to that is Apophis is too specific, while zombie support has been coming out for years on end, over and over. So we should be like, even if we're not expecting like zombie support like right at this moment, like zombie support will passively be coming out, and it will only take like, in my opinion, like just 1-2 cards more, and then the whole deck just like gets fine-tuned, because the card quality is already so high. Vortex of Time is such an insane card, the pumpkin is an insane card, like all the Eldritch stuff, like the Link one, like you beat Liger in this deck like it's nothing. You also play so many hand traps. So yeah, just check out the next video I'm going to be making. It's going to be including the deck list, and you're going to be able to see it. I just wanted to explain the theory behind it, show you a bit of the combos, show you the appeal as to why like the deck should interest you. I felt like if I just show the deck profile, it wouldn't be enough, and some people will just look at it without understanding like the merits of it. But yeah, there's still lots more to show you guys, and I'll be showing you more videos on this. But yeah, for now, have a nice day. Bye bye.